Now, the nation's headline inflation rose to 19.64% in July, the highest since September 2005, from 18.60% in June, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. In a bid to arrest surging inflationary pressure, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria has raised the monetary policy rate, MPR, twice this year, with analysts saying another hike looks likely in September. With the nation's headline inflation at 19.64% in July, the question is, do you envisage another hike?
Well, will I say the Monetary Policy Committee people, are they inflation hawk? I wouldn't agree with that. Because when you say inflation hawk, in monetary jargon, it's, those who want to increase rates to meet up with inflation because they believe that inflation is affecting the economy and they need to increase. But I think looking at what we have today, I don't see any rate hike in the next MPC meeting. At least they need to analyze it very well before coming up with any increase. Because you can't just say because inflation has increased, then you want to increase your monetary policy rate. So
why do you think so?
Yes, for me, I think they still need to study the effects. Give it some time. Yes, of the increase. Okay. Yes, of what they have done before, and see how that will come out before thinking of any other increase. Yeah.
Now, in the absence of this, how else can they arrest this surging inflation?
It's very simple: production, production, production.
I think that's a good answer.
That's good.
Yeah, exactly. I guess you agree with him in split seconds.
Yeah, I agree with him. But no, like you just said, anywhere in the world, there are three major factors that drive economy. One is inflation, your output, which is industrial output, and inflation. Now that was interest rate already hiked for 2 consecutive times, and also inflation almost hitting 20%. I think for the MPC, this is the time to see less impact of this almost 250 basis point increase we have done in the last 2 MPC meetings, and let's use this one to see if there will be changes. But actually, if you look at what they have done 2 days ago, indirectly you want to really reduce interest rate. If you are looking at the special intervention we have done in some critical sector, we are reducing the the interest rate from 9 to 5. It tells you that they are feeling that cost of fund is going to fuel even cost of production, and that will reduce employment, because if cost of fund my business is high, I will not employ people. But for that, it's going to also squeeze the economy. I believe that for me, the committee should just leave this September meeting to see impact of one. We are seeing a global crude oil price remaining below $100. At the same time, because of the kind of the broker negotiation that was done by the Toshik president, that now over 26 ships have left Ukraine war zone to the war. That means naturally you can see that the price of grain have dropped drastically. That means looking forward, both those international markets where we are seeing inflation hitting 40 years high will likely slow down in the month of August. And don't forget that August too, we're already entering harvest period in Nigeria here. I believe that will slow down inflation in this month. For that, hiking rate again immediately for me is not possible unless they want to achieve another thing. But I'm telling you, the goal of any MPC in the world is that you keep your economy running, to attract investment, to employ people, but continue to hike rate, and many companies start falling or also start reducing their productivity, people will be laid off, and that also increase the insecurity already crying off in Nigeria.
All right, that's interesting. Well, we have with us Alhaji, that's Mr. Garuba Krufi. Mr. Garuba, let's talk about this particular issue, that's the inflation rate. How are investors hedging against inflation? I would also like you to give us an overview of the market in the past days.
Okay, as regard to the inflation, I think we have not reached the peak period. Because remember, this is as at July. We are talking of August, and August has a heavy downfall across the north, meaning that even harvesting will start in September. So the food inflation will still rise, and therefore the inflation is likely going to surpass 20%, and that will trigger the NPR to probably increase it a bit. But the truth of the matter that most of our inflation are cost push. Look at the issue of energy. They just did a temporary set. They did not reconcile it. They are likely going into it. And what does that mean? When there is no power, you have to buy diesel, and we know the cost of diesel to generate power, and that will be additional cost to the production, and that will push the cost of and the rising of the inflation to be much higher than what it is today. But hopefully, by September ending and early October, we are expecting the food inflation to come down, and that may likely reduce the impact of the inflation toward the end of the year. And from there in, we are expecting that the MPR may either stabilize or may raise it to 15%, because even at 15%, remember, we are still at a negative returns, because when the inflation is 20% and your return is 15%, you are still in a negative of 5%, or what we can say 25%, and that is not good enough.
All right, thank you for your thoughts. Well, analysts have urged policymakers to review Nigeria's interest rate policy. And the reason is really not far-fetched. This is to ensure that those who save in Nigerian naira do not lose purchasing power, and also to avert the erosion of the value of pension assets. Now, that's a big one. I'm particular about that one. And then we also see that demand for government securities is declining, and fixed income securities are becoming more attractive at the expense of stocks. Talk to us about this, Mr. Garuba.
You see, you can see that most of our stock have come down, and most of them, they are trading at 52 weeks low, and this is not good for the.
If you can hear me, please go ahead. You're talking about the fact that most of the stocks are trading at almost 52 weeks low, and that really isn't good for the market. If you can hear me, please go ahead. All right, I think this will be a good place for you to come in, Mr.
Yeah, like Alaji said, if you look at the equity market, we have seen the market making lower lows for the past 2 months now, for the month of June, July, and already in August. For me, it's a great opportunity for people to look at what is happening in the market. For market to go down, something is responsible for market coming down. Before now, earnings have put the market to almost 22% high. But now we have seen impressive numbers in the market for half year. Still, prices are not going up as expected. Something is wrong somewhere fundamental. That is what liquidity is not in the market. It's pure because of hike in what? In rate. If there is no liquidity in the market, it's because interest rate is high. Then if, okay, we are saying that further adjustment in rate. If you do that, find anywhere in the world when there's increase in interest rate, capital market will suffer for it, because people want to take less risk and make more return, and that would look the world for fixed income market, fixed income space like treasury bill and other stuff. But for those that really that are designed in terms of taking a decision, when you see company that is selling at, you mentioned 52 weeks low, and we have seen the Q2 number of this company and the earnings beat expectation. For those that are thinking long term, I call them position traders. You are thinking long term, medium term, you go into such stock because one, dividend yield is high, and capital appreciation come, you cannot stay ahead of what? Inflation. Because everything we are doing is to what? To preserve capital and at the same time grow value. If that is what we want to achieve in the market, I believe that even adjusting rate again from what we are adjusting, for me, it will be good for the economy, not only for stock capital market, because the more we are raising, the liquidity we are seeing is being squeezed in the market. For me, I believe that company performance are giving us insight what should be. And also, don't forget that before now, in Nigeria, banking sector is the toast of every investor. Even market players like my colleague here, they look the way of banking sector because we have volume there. But now, I'll tell you, no banking stock have returned something above inflation. And for that, you can look at sectors or industry where you see that even the earnings are giving an insight that the yield there alone is above inflation. Look for that that sector, that is how to invest. Not saying that it must be in what every sector of the economy. Remember, I said on the program that for you to have a controllable portfolio, minimum of what? 4 stock in your portfolio, maximum of what? 8. Those that have 100 stock in their portfolio, just having 1,000, just to answer president in AGM, it doesn't make any sense for me. If you really want to make money in this market, reduce your portfolio to just 4. If your money is not more, if it's more, do 8 stock, fine, and have good volume. Then when it goes up, your dividend return will make meaning, capital return will make meaning, and have spreading is all. That is why now that we're seeing that some sectors return even match inflation, go to sectors that will exceed inflation.
All right, that's interesting. Let's move on to the next topic now. Towards the end of the second quarter of this year, the news of O&O PLC's possible NGX exit rent the air. This is sequel to outcome of a court ruling following a petition filed on 25th March 2021 at the Federal High Court, Lagos, by 14 minority shareholders of O&O, holding a total of 299,257,869 shares. Recall that, among other things, the court gave an order directing Oando PLC to convene within 120 days a meeting of the holders of its fully paid ordinary shares or their duly authorized proxies or personal representatives to consider, and if thought appropriate, approve a proposed scheme of arrangement by OODP Nigeria for the purchase of all the minority shareholders' shares in Oando, among others. Now, this is the last information in the public domain. However, there are strong indications that Oando has contacted the minority shareholders and they have already voted to have Oando delisted from the Nigerian exchange. Well, we have our gentleman here to talk about this. If you can hear me, Mr. Garuba, I'd like you to start this conversation.
Well, yes, you know, they had their AGM for the 2019 on 10th August. At that period, they called for the decision of the minority shareholder, which were in support. But this is just one hurdle. The major hurdle is the regulatory issue. They have to go and meet up the regulatory issue, especially with the Exchange and the Security and Exchange Commission. Remember, this is a company that came to the market 5 times. I remember there was a time they came to the market at 18 naira per share. The last time they visited the market, it was 17 naira per share. So at what price are they going to exit? If you take it, for instance, at the time they came 2015 at 17 naira, you can just equivalent to $1 is 17 naira at that time.
Yes.
Today, $1 is trading at more than 17 naira. Are they going to pay the shareholders 17 naira for each? Or what else do they intend to? Don't forget that the market price is not reflecting their correct price because of the lack of information. They have not delivered the 2021 year account. The management account for the first quarter, second quarter, now we are in the third quarter, not known to the market. And remember, in 2017, they declared a huge loss of 183 billion loss in view of the fact that the price of crude oil crashed to less than $34 per barrel. Today, price of crude oil is trading at more than $110 per barrel. Have they reflected that the improvement in their book? What will be the balance sheet of the Oando? There are so many questions to ask, and I believe the regulatory authority will be willing and ready to make sure that if at all they choose to delist and become a private company, they must reward the shareholders, no matter what. But if they decided to delist and remain PLC, then the choice is up to the investor who want to exit, who want to remain there. Because it is common knowledge that all the oil companies have done very well for 2021 and their price have changed. Total was trading at 110, today total is trading over 200. Ethanol oil was trading at 3 naira, today ethanol oil is trading around 7 naira. So we have seen the reward of all this, but that is not reflected in the Oando because Oando have not released their result, and therefore you cannot delist without getting the correct price or negotiate with the investors and pay them well. We wish them best of luck. Once they do well, they pay well, the investors are willing to take their money and say bye to the companies. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I know Mr. Aruna has joined us. Please, let's have your thoughts on this issue, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay.
Let's have your thoughts.
Yeah, I think most.
All right, I guess that's connection issue right there. Oh, well, let's have your thoughts.
Well, my Doyen has said it all. And Ambrose is aware in our tradition, when the Doyen has spoken, nobody will speak again. But I think I have my own minority opinion.
I like that. Yeah. Let's hear your minority opinion.
Yes, Oando over time has not shown to be a company with good corporate governance, from all what we have been seeing.
Yeah.
And me, I'm more concerned about the protection of investors. Because once investors are protected, they see the market to be fair, transparent, and efficient. Then that will encourage more Nigerians to come to the market, and of course even foreign investors. But Oando, we are seeing all this dance drama here and there, and at one point in time we saw because of Oando, SEC lost about 2 DGs. So if this will continue, at the time they said do forensic audit.
Yeah.
You know, it is going to come out, it's not going to come out. There were a lot of issues. And for me, one of the cardinal things about the capital market is good corporate governance. And if a company has not shown that, then, yes, taking care of minority investors, they can exit the market. Let us have our peace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for some few seconds, just like what you just said. You know, the good thing in the equity market or stock exchange is that it's free entry and free exit. We'll be that very clear.
Exactly.
But we can't come to the market through a front door. I want to go back through the back door.
I wanted you to emphasize that.
Yeah. One, we came to the market with different, private placement, right issues before now. And one though, through when they were acquiring Philip Coloco's assets, and one was like the talk of the thing in the market. At the end of the day, they were unable to convert that assets to what? To money. That is why they are posting losses before now. Now that, okay, from back where they want to leave, nobody is dragging them not to leave because free entry. But the good thing that you as a corporate body know that, yes, people have invested in your company for straight 7 to 8 years, no single 5 kobo dividend. And now you are telling us that majority said you should exit. Not you, not the majority stakeholder, the minority. For those 14 of them, as you just read, say we should exit. What, no problem. Let's sit down and see the right price you are going. It's very, very important because if I've given you the last right issue you did was at 17 naira and your price on the market is below 6 naira. And if you go to NGS rule, it is your price in the last 6 months should be what you use to exit. And for those that bought at 17 naira, are you slapping them? I bought at 17 naira right issue. You have not given me 5 naira dividend. Now you want to exit. No, that is why we don't want to go with the exchange rule. Let the two regulators, the SEC and NGS, come together with the investor. Let's agree the price tag. Because for me, I like to have said, he said, as at then, dollar is how much? Today, dollar is how much? For me, if you have the right issue was done at 17 naira, I think nothing less than 30 naira or 12 naira should be paid to pay investors. If you want to exit, then you are free to go because you can become a private agent and still be on. Today, Mobi is a private company, but still listed on the NESD. For me, it's a choice. But settle us when we are going. The people that want to go with you, let them go because this is a company that feel that they are not transparent, no corporate governance, zero. Then people that want to go with you, those minorities that demand that you let them follow you. But for those, pay us very well. It's as simple as that.
All right. Well, moving on now, Nimet International Pharmaceuticals PLC is currently in the market for rights issue to raise about 3.67 billion naira from its existing shareholders. The pharmaceutical company is offering to its existing shareholders 2,373,947,500 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each at 1.55 naira kobo per share on the basis of 5 new ordinary shares for every 4 ordinary shares held as at April 22, 2022. The shares being issued will qualify for any dividend or any other distribution declared for the financial year ending 2022, as long as the qualification date for the dividend or any other distribution declared is after the allotment of the ordinary shares being issued. The acceptance list for the shares now being issued since Wednesday, August 3, 2022, closes on Thursday, August 25th, 2022. Well, I'd like you to talk to us about this development, Charles.
Well, thank you very much. I must say, Nimet, well, they've done their best. They are trying. I think this is one of the best way to raise funds for the kind of expansion they are looking at. So for the purpose of our listeners and of course those of you who are watching us, a right issue simply means where a company issues shares to already existing shareholders. That is, the shareholders who are in the company, the management is telling them, we want to raise capital. We don't want to go outside. Those of you who are already with us, you know what we can do. You have taken some dividend before, but now we are asking you, come and give us more money as owners of this company so that we can expand and do what we want to do. However, there are options that are available to each of these shareholders. You can claim all your rights.
Okay.
You can do partial renunciation. That is, if you have 100 shares, you can say, and what is due to you is 100, depending on the ratio. You can say you want to take some based on what you have.
Yeah.
Then you can also do partial claim. Instead of renouncing everything, you take some. Well, the last of them, somebody will say you can also do nothing. But, yes, you can also do nothing.
By trading up your
yes. Now, you can also trade your rights
Yeah.
that are, and of course now it has been made electronic. You know, get in touch with your stockbroker, do the necessary processing, and of course, your right will be traded for you, and you will get something. But I will advise the shareholders, if you have the money, this is your company, take up your rights.
Okay.
So that the company can continue to deliver what you want them to deliver.
All right, I think I'll stop there now. Let's take Mr. Haruna.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead, sir. I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I think there is that the company need money. That is why they are doing this. But we should put at the back of our mind that there's going to be a dilution in the shareholding. 5-for-1 is about 125%, which means that at the end of the day, there's another 125% share added to what is currently existing, which means that they have to double up and try as much as possible to make earnings that will be able to hold that price. The drag price is 155, but it's actually trading at 153 in the market. If care is not taken after this has been allotted and it's been listed, if they don't make enough earnings to hold that that price, we might see price looking down.
All right. Thank you so much.